video is some more fantasy races that I made up and a time-lapse process showing how I did it. So this here is the Lasherion Draconi, which is a winged dragon person. This particular variety is bronze and gold. I have a series of dragon people that are a mix of two other different varieties. And this is done recently as a remake of a very old racial profile I did back in 2008 because I added it, due to random rolls, into a new Dungeons & Dragons world I'm DMing called Reyale. So Lasherion Draconi is one of the surviving species of dragon people on this world, and due to random rolls I rolled up several other dragon people, but not all the varieties. So I created this ancient dragon war where only some of the species survived a great apocalyptic event. It's one of the superior races in the world, technically, because it has quite a long lifespan and it also has 2 resistances to fire and lightning. It's able to fly, but not exceptionally well, and it needs to take breaks at a certain distance. And so around every half hour, and it can try to fly longer but might actually get exhausted if it tries to fly too much in a row. Unlike the standard Dragonborn, not only does it have wings, but I also made sure to give them dark vision because of dragons' heightened senses and ability to see in almost any condition. They also have 2 breath weapons, a 15-foot reaching cone of fire, and a line of lightning that also reaches 15 feet. I also made the breath weapons a little more powerful than the standard Dragonborn in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It's meant to be a race that the Dungeon Master has to allow you to play if they want you to be something a little more powerful than the average, and I also gave them a slight bonus to armor class of +1, so the base armor class is 11, just so the scales are a little bit protective, but not that protective, not any more protective than leather armor. I painted this in Procreate using various layers, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. There are different individuals, they can be different weights, they can have different striping and patterning, but they usually involve these colors in different orders. This painting is a particular individual, Baraja's Shield Warden. The rear view is basically him, except the hand should be a bit smaller, the leg should be a bit longer. At any rate, named by his patriotic parents for the country and region he is from, this bronze and gold dragon person is a cleric of Odiark, a god on the world of Reyale, who is a god of heroics and justice. He's very suspicious for evildoers at all times and betrayal, and is a bit suddenly off-putting personality and can get violent before feeling guilty afterwards. He is physically beautiful but has only a 10 in charisma, so to explain how I designed him to be physically beautiful but how he wouldn't have super high charisma, I made his personality have some flaws that would cause difficulties. He's a bisexual people pleaser who loves fashion, looking good, helping those in need, and making money. His get-rich-quick schemes often fail, and he's easily guilted and manipulated into things. Trained in alchemy and from a wealthy and high-class family, he insists on getting himself and all his gear clean at the earliest possible opportunity, whenever it gets dirty. He has high family, religious, and Celestial Lily Guild pride, very loyal to his allies once they have earned his trust. He's a member of the Adventuring Guild, the Celestial Lily, which is where my players start off, with the Adventuring Guild in a large city called Vona's Sickle. I've actually come up with an awful lot of lore and information for this world, and I'm extremely happy with how this picture turned out. This is the naked version of him, just holding a warhammer, but as you can see, he's extremely beautiful. I really like him. I think he turned out great, and I'm very proud of it. There will be an armored version coming up where I add his scale mail armor. He also has a backpack that sits between and partially under his wings, but I didn't show the backpack specifically, I just end up adding the armor. This is entirely painted in the Procreate app on my iPad Pro, and as I said, I'm just happy with how this turned out. In order to make this, I used 2 main color palettes. A previously created gold color palette, where I took all the colors off of real gold bars in a photo, and have been using that to paint gold, and it's been extremely helpful. It includes bright yellows and an almost white yellow, as well as mid-tone golden yellows. And the interesting thing is there's actually a bit of a reddish tone that's used for the darkest shadows. A second palette I made I called Bronze Dragon, and I took colors from various bronze things and other artwork of bronze dragons to make a color palette, as well as adding a few colors myself, so I could get the turquoise of rusted bronze, the brown, the pale yellowish brown, and various tones in. Here I'm creating the scale mail. I also saved it separately as a line art so I could have a copy of just the armor design. Before doing this, I went and got reference of different real scale mail armors and designed my own individual scale mail based on what I was imagining for him, as well as what actually would work with his body type and the design. And I'm really happy with how the design of the armor turned out. The interesting thing is he's definitely more beautiful in my opinion naked, but this is what he's actually supposed to be wearing when he goes into battle, so he's not just naked all the time. As an interesting part of this world, the region we start in is tropical and has very different modesty laws to the standards of our society, so most people are able to go naked or mostly naked if they choose, without any kind of societal pressure that forces them to wear clothing. So especially for the races like the dragon people and the dinosaur people, they don't really feel the need to wear clothes unless they want to for fashion or for protection or for some sort of function, like wearing pouches and backpacks and jewelry because it's pretty and things like that. They don't feel the need to wear clothes out of shame. I made this carry over to the main society on that world. The Renoxen is another race I rolled up randomly. I'd previously invented them in 2014, but due to random rolls, they got added into the world of Reyale. Renoxen are a humanoid arthropod race that actually does mix human and bug anatomy, rather than making a vaguely humanoid bug. It is actually part human and part bug. They have breast-like areas on the chest that are present in both males and females, which are actually muscle-filled compartments for the wing flaps. This individual here is a female in the example, and she's a wizard that is an NPC in the campaign who's a member of the Celestial Lily Guild, a powerful wizard who's actually quite a useful ally and source of magical lore, history. I used the Unearthed Arcana for 5th edition to make her a lore master wizard, so she's actually quite powerful. I'm working out the racial profile here for it, as well as doing a picture of her individually, so I wanted to draw a rear view. I used these measurement lines to get everything lined up better so I could change the angle and view of the race without making the proportions too different from the original picture. I also copied out the original line art I did of the wings, flipped it around so I could trace over and use that to create the perfect wings to fit on her. I ended up having to do a lot of adjusting in order to get everything to fit properly, but you have to do that sometimes. The great thing about working digitally is that you can use the symmetry tool and you can enlarge and decrease the size of things, move them around and adjust until you get it just right. I remembered to save a clear background version of the black line art before I painted this in or did the color lines. I had it on a separate layer so I could do the painting of all the color artwork underneath, and by alpha locking the lines I could quickly paint them in. This saves a lot of time. I once again used that gold color palette to help with the gold jewelry. As you can see, this is a great example of creating clothing to fit an alien form rather than a human, because it has to go around her wings and her nose holes on her belly. This is another member of the same race, the Renoxen. He is an artificer. Using the new Unearthed Arcana, I wanted to make an artificer NPC who's a member of the Celestial Lily Guild. I rolled randomly to determine the race, and it came up with another Renoxen. There are 4 main subraces of Renoxen that have different colorations, and he got rolled with a d4 to determine which one of these main colorations he was. Luckily, he was a different color than her, so it looks more obviously different as an individual. He also has a slightly chunkier body style overall, a slightly larger head proportionally, and the male antenna. The male antenna have fluffy tips, whereas the female ones are smaller and have a bunch of rounded dots. I think he also does actually look more masculine, but he is a different individual, and sometimes males will end up looking more female to other humanoids' eyes of this race. Bermid is an artificer who loves to get new knowledge and make inventions, magical inventions to do things. When he's back at the guild, he likes to run the Artificer shop, which is normally just called the Adventurer's Gear shop, but when he's back, he insists on changing the name to the Artificer shop. If I get any requests, I'll show the other 2 colorations for this race at some point. Or, you know, if I really feel like it because an NPC gets created that has those other colorations. Let me know what you think. This here is an example of a Kalazeni, the Hadrosaurian people on this world. He's an NPC that's important in the campaign, who's a friendly face at the Adventuring Guild, and I'm really, really happy with how this picture turned out. I think it encapsulates his personality and look perfectly. That's Kuok. I created a list of fashion style types and actually rolled up goth for him, and a lot of random rolls turned out to make him a very interesting character. Let me know if you want to know anything else about this campaign, these characters, these fantasy races. I'm planning on doing another video with the remaining races from this world, which includes a type of mice people, and well, you'll just have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed this video and look forward to the next one. Goodbye!